All right. Yes. Okay, good. All right. I don't suppose anyone's going to watch this, but I'm testing basically, can I play games and show them off? I know there's a way to connect BGA directly, but I haven't figured that out yet. So I'm just going to use X, and you should be able to see my face and the game, hopefully. Projects. Everyone has a project that gives them green energy, that reduces negative energy, toxic energy, something that gives them resilience, something that gives them more cards, probably. And in the case of the solo, you have lots of ways to get new cards, generally into other cards. So let's have a look. So the first thing we're going to do each turn is going to look at which of our projects we want to fund. This one lets us draw cards and keep more. We actually have something that does that just as well. This you would only do in a situation where someone protects you entirely against an effect. There's a little bit of randomness there, but that's just a no-brainer. Multi-country insurance pool. But we've got plenty of time to do that. Our upcoming crisis card is going to be, we're going to get one fewer cards. So now we're looking at our hand, and I'm looking across, and I'm looking for things that I don't need, basically, to start off with, because I want to be able to fuel things. And a solar symbol over on your energy cleaning plant system. You don't start that. We'll start with that in the team game. We've been dealt, thankfully, a wind symbol, which means we're probably going to go wind. That's excellent. But always our first move is generally to draw more cards. Card sorting is important, but it's actually better to just get more cards. In general, cards. I've also got up here clean energy investments, which lets me draw cards if I have another green symbol on it. But I'm probably going to use low eco impact wind here to get wind power, because that's going to be really important. Now, it does trigger off grass symbols, but we're probably going to put it over here anyway, because we want to maximize those wind symbols. We've got a lot of them because you have to add one, and you can't risk the bad things in this game. It's just not worth it to roll this out of it. So the first thing I think I'm going to do, though, even though I said you want to just get more cards, is I'm going to run this because I've got a card I can feed into it. So I'm going to discard a card, draw 5 more, and then I'm going to talk about how I'm going to make those choices. So this is a pretty good card. Removing your emissions is really, really important. There's no downside to it. It does need 2 green things to trigger, but that's a pretty good card. Only problem is it doesn't stack, and it's only going to give us a single use. Discard a card to remove a this is probably better. These kind of cards can be really good, especially if you're playing something like the US, where your population increase is very small, because they give you options to get rid of both kinds of emissions, and you can do it multiple times with pink. So that's card there. Wilderness protection. This is a pretty good card. It's a good symbol. It's a good effect. Fire and forget card is also good, because a lot of the dilemma of this game is figuring out what to keep and what not to keep. And if you can just go, right, we're going to run that a few times and move on, that's really good. But I think the best card here at the moment, at the start of the game, the most important thing that you can do generally to cut down is getting rid of your negative energy. Because you've got a few, although you have to make sure you've got something to replace it, but this is a much better card than our current dirty energy phase out, because it allows us to get rid of 2 at 0 cost. And we can actually take a reduction in 2. That's another great thing they give you in this game. Like, we start with 9 power. We are producing 9. We're going to go up to 11. We can probably make the 2 cover that up. So I think at this point, because bringing down power choice is really important, and this is such a better upgrade, I'm going to take buffer zones as my card. I'm going to put buffer zones. Let's go. There we go. I'm going to put buffer zones over here on top of dirty energy. Right. So now I've got a problem with power energy, but it's not. I've got only producing 7 power. I've got 9 people. I'm going to only get 2 communities in crisis. That's not going to tip me over, though, and I can probably get some extra power. In fact, I know I can because I can put this card over here and we'll be able to just get 2 good power coming in. But first, we're going to see if we can get some more power. Sequestering 10. And that means we're going to have 8 net carbon coming in. It can make sense to pile on a whole ton of resilience early on to stop that. But we know we're only going to get probably 1 effect of each. So we don't need to go too hard on that. So what I'm thinking about doing now is I want to keep this to trigger next turn because I want to slowly peel it down, but I don't want to pink, but I'd have to cover up buffer zones to get the most out of it. So I'm going to use something 1 or 2 times and then see if you can make something better out of it. Now we can actually draw a card and we've got more fuel. This will let us build nuclear plants. That's not bad. It does require a pink. Our next step, we'll discard nuclear power plants and boom. Now we've got enough power to get us through to the next round. And all you have to do in this game really is live one round at a time, which is very, very relaxed. So we're going to compare this with Citizens Nature Service. Now, at the moment, if you discard a card for Citizen Nature Service, you get one of a symbol of your choice, political resistance or social resilience per pink, which means we'd only probably get 1. We could feed it into that and get 1. We can put it behind there so that our social resilience. I might want to use it for pink symbols and fossil fuel subsidies ban to get more cards. I might want to tuck it behind buffer zones and get, but I'm not sure where I want to put it. I'm not sure what's the best way to put it. Do I need more social resilience? Do I need more social symbols? Do I need more pink symbols? 1 more. If I put this behind buffer zones, then I can run buffer zones next round and get rid of all my negative energy. That might actually be worthwhile. That's probably the best way to put this because resilience at the moment is decent. So I'm actually going to tuck that behind there in terms of power, but I'm probably going to get something that will let me run this again next time. And I can't run that. I'm going to hang on to this. Next turn, I know if I run this, I'll immediately get rid of all my negative, and then I've got a free column with pinks in it, which means fossil fuel bans will be great because I'll be able to immediately go to the 4 on that. And that's generally what you're trying to do in this game is even though it's very focused on the now, it's often worth keeping a card back because you can plan ahead and go, well, I've built up. So looking across here, we've got a pile of wind symbols here. We've also got a green that we might use. This is blank and allows us to stack. We've got a pile of pinks and purples here to put stacks on. We're building up a research stack here. So this will probably be our research stack. And we've got an empty stack here that we're probably not going to use. That's great news for us because we can put things on top of it. So we're coming to the end of the round now. We're going to have 1 community in crisis. We're only going to have 7 carbon. So that's actually pretty good. So we're going to hit end turn there. That's a pretty good first turn. Generally, what you want to do on the first turn is just stop you getting that second temperature band because 1 band isn't too bad. 1 in the first turn, you pretty much cannot stop that. What you're looking for is to stop 2, stopping there being too much in 2. We've got 3 gaps in there, so we've got a gap basically of 8 going into the next round. And currently our over could produce is 7. So that means even in the next round, we're not going to hit 3. We're only going to hit 2. And that's just going to keep things down. We roll ocean acidification. That's okay. We didn't get a trigger. We know we're going to get 1 fuel cards. Storms. See, storms has no effect because we have 1 resilience. Oh, I actually forgot to fuel multicultural insurance plan. That's okay. I don't get any coins. Oil pollution, going to lose 1 of our environmental ones. So that's going to be worth having. Having at least 1 can be so important. Right. So now we've got global efficiency standards. Whenever a player starts a local project with a regulation tag, reduce their energy demand by 1. Anything that reduces your energy demand is so good in this game. Circular economy, education for girls, cards like that, they're your gold. You really want to maximize them because it just means you can stop worrying about something. And you need 3 pink in a player. We automatically activate this. International Disaster Response Force is a good card, but it's nothing compared to something we can automatically activate. So Easy choice here, global efficiency standards. Lock that in. We got our 4 cards. And let's have a look at the cards we've got. So we've got carbon capture and storage is a great card if you've got as well, because with solo you have so few cards you can use. So the first thing I'm going to do before I look at my cards even further, whoops, 3 times please. Now this can be a bit of a trap, and I've done this before in some games. You can drive that energy way down and end up being in a lot of trouble, because now we're 6 communities in crisis if we don't get some more wind power coming in to replace that. That's a lot, and that can be a bit of a trap. So now we're thinking, okay, the next thing we have to solve is how to put in carbon capture behind this, because it won't this. Yeah, no, I think this is a good pink card, but it's not gonna. This is 4/5, and just preventing that sea level rise would be nice. Now we've got a way to ignore losing infrastructure, which is just great. Yep, that's coming through great. Okay, cool. All right. So let's look at our next action. So we're definitely going to run Women and Girls Education. That's an amazing card, and it needs. So we've got a backup there. That's okay. Grid enhancing tech is a good card because we want to get rid of. But we going to put this one here on top of that. Since we've run buffer zones, we don't need it anymore, and that's really important. Making sure you have slots that you don't need. 4 power pink, playing a card, but it does need a second one of the first, so that I know where I'm going to spend things. So this is actually a pretty good card to get rid of interest, to get rid of emissions, but at the moment, my big problem is not having enough power. So I'm going to put this behind there so that now I have the 2 grid symbols to build small scale offset. And now we are only behind the pace in terms of energy. And we're going to throw women and girls education. Now we're only 1 in arrears. Very nice. Now we've got financial risk regulations. That gives us a purple resilience, a social resilience per pink, which would give us 1, 2, 3, 4 if we put it over there. Not bad, but we don't need 6 resilience, and that's not bad. Can't put it under sea level rise. We can't put it under multicultural and multi-country insurance pool. We might hang on to it so that we can actually use it, but it's not a game winner yet, which is not quite enough, unfortunately. But might be worth hanging on to that, because next turn we can probably get down to it. So we might want to keep some cards to feed into it too. So we're not going. I don't want to cover up fossil fuel subsidies because I really want to be able to bring in cards like that. I don't want to cover up this necessarily. So this is only going to guard this one, get the ecological, so we can reduce things by 1. Then we're going to put this on top for now because we want to keep everything else, and get up to 3. It can be worthwhile. Sorry, up to 4. It can be worthwhile getting something up to about 4, 5, or 6, and then again forgetting about it. But if you can't do that, getting everything to about 2 or 3, right? That's your goal. So we're going to hit 2 this level. We're not going to hit 3. That means we have some issues. We're going to only have 1 or effect if we get hit with environment or infrastructure. And 1 we can probably take. We can take, a little bit over. We're still going to get 1 community in crisis. If we get 1 more community in crisis, that's not. Unfortunately, that's a cost that we maybe should have only run that twice. But again, what I like to do in this game, the reason I wanted to run that 3 times is that means I'm done. I don't need that card anymore, and I can stack on top of it. We can, and that's one of the lessons of this game, is that if we do some things like just get off fossil fuels, then all the funding we're using to do that, we can then redirect into something else, right? So let's end that turn. We didn't quite land. That's unfortunate, but we're producing 14 carbon emissions. The wonderful oceans are sucking up, and forests are sucking up 10 of it. 4 are going on the track. We just ticked over onto our 3rd thermometer. We rolled major weather systems. That's a good one to roll because it's not that bad. Ocean acidification, that's not great. We've lost an ocean. If you ever have a choice on anything, you want to reduce, you want to keep your energy, your emissions sucking up high. Make mangroves, make trees. They are the best possible way to spend your things, except and population shrink, but particularly those because every single round they're a sponge that reduces damage, and that's just going to be super helpful. Sea rise, no effect. Water pollution, no effect because we have science. Oh no, we lost a social. No, why did we lose one? I don't know. Looks like there was a little error there for some reason. We should have had 3, not 4. Yep. Okay. Yeah, we lost, but we have no effect from that. Fossil fuel disinformation. Now, fossil fuel disinformation is it's not that bad a card. Lying fossil fuel companies are very, very evil in the real world, but in this case, especially at this round, we don't need a lot of forecasting. If we were in a lot of strife, we'd need that, but the revealed information is less useful than it seems, I think. These cards are really good if you get the technologies at scale cards, but they're random. They depend on you going that, right? If somebody's going solar at your table, fantastic. The game's quite easy at 4 because of that, because somebody's probably going solar. So again, easy choice here. We're going to go with good agricultural practices to stop the desertification of the Amazon. And that's also a nice easy card to trigger. Only needs 1 green. We've got our 4 cards, our 5 cards, because we haven't got that problem anymore. And probably first up, we have that research there that we might want to keep. We're going to look around. We got a coin here with rewild. That happens, it's great. Now, I can put that under the insurance pool, or I can put it under best average of 1.5 cards from these. Just excellent. And we've got another wind card. Superb. Onshore wind can just go straight behind there. Very simple. Now we're going to get 4. Rerun that. Now we're ahead of our power scheme. We're getting 4 power return, and we're increasing our population by 1 women's population. So, boom, power needs sorted. The world is happy for us. And again, we can forget about that problem. We're done, solved, and we just need to run that once per turn. We actually only need to run that once per every 2 turns. So, we can, given that we're in turn 3 and you usually don't need to go to turn 6, so we're not going to anymore. So we're going to use fossil fuel. It does give us a flip, and it gives us resilience, which is pretty good. Just gives us a single card. Might be worth behind there, but what we might want to do with that is use that as a pink symbol. Okay, I'm going to run system and hang on, undo that. So now I'm looking around figuring out where do I want to put some cards. I'm going to run systemic risk planning because that doesn't depend on symbols. And now we have a huge amount of social. We don't need this card anymore. I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pink, which if we stack with regenerated agriculture will give us an enormous amount of green. It depends on greens, right? So we might want to run this a few times and then build the trees, or build the trees and then run this a few times. We can't use to put half earth rewilding. Now we have 1, 2, 3. We're trying to get to 5. So we can get 2 trees. I'm going to That was a mistake. Whoops, I lost that coin. So what are our problems now? We have plenty of power, but we have 14 emissions, and we've only got 9 sequestering. So we want to get rid of some of those things. We're looking around for places we can put a card. Do we need to draw 2 cards every turn? We might. We definitely want to keep using 2 cards coming here, possibly 3. So we're going to cover up this reuse to deal with our problem of but what I think we actually want to do is put this here. Since we've got a few ways to get cards, we're going to put this one here. We can now run this 3 times because there's doing solar. Get infrastructure boosted to 2. And now let's have a look at our carbon again. We've got 5 left over, and we have 1 on the track. That's going to put us just over into the for methane removal, which I forgot about. Good. But as this game is quite gentle and will not harm me. If I can get that down a little bit, I'm going to put this here and run this to get us that 1 tree. And now we're not going to get into drawdown, but we're very close. We are producing 14. Oh, so we're not quite into drawdown, unfortunately. We're going to have to go 1 more turn, but we're not in crisis. And that's probably because I wasn't paying attention. Now, I'm going to hang on to the methane removal card because the problem that we're having at the moment is that we haven't got much that reduces emissions. And that's another thing that happens in this game is that there are several vectors that you need to do. You need to produce clean energy. You need to reduce polluting energy. You need to reduce emissions. You need to build resilience. And you need to build up reduce your population is another way, is an energy issue. And you need to build up the resilience of the planet. Generally, you won't be able to do 1 or 2 of those things. At this game, we are not reducing emissions. So we're going to have trouble getting that down under 14. Solution, try to build more trees or try to capture with this card. So I'm going to hang on to this card for the next round with the hope that we can use it to make sure we win, because that's what that card is really for. So we're going to end turn on turn 3. Generally, on playing on the basic mode, I win on turn 3, but it depends on the cards. You can see that we've just ticked over there. I wanted to avoid that, but got dieback of the Amazon as the roll. Desertification is rolled, but we ignore it because of best practices. And acidification advances. We don't hit a tipping zone. That's okay. Social unrest, no problem because we have 5 resilience. Fantastic. Floods, okay. Now we can use our multi-country insurance pool. We would lose cards equal to the band. So that would be 1 card. Now, things that make you delete cards is a bit of a trick. Can sometimes be really, really good because you can dig down into something else. So, for example, I could get rid of early warning systems and get back to that card source. But I don't think I really want to do that, so I'm going to spend it. And then we had floods, no effect because we just paid for it. And then we got fossil fuel lobbying. Okay, that is a fine card to have now because we're out of the fossil fuel business. And that's great to have a card that we don't have to care about. Cannot remove dirty energy. Yep. Excellent. All right, tax. Round 4. Let's see what our cards are. Let me just see if anyone is watching this nonsense. Hard to see at the moment. But we will keep going. Actually, with large player counts, everyone draws an extra card. Note that it doesn't card so much. Bigger and low player counts because you only need one card per player. I just love the theme of this, right? To stop is a good bank, but it can often be a card put in to stop losing a card. So It's again, it's a good multiplayer card. Card because people who have lots who are doing well can protect the people who are doing less. I'm going to go for it because I might just not be able to build my infrastructure resilience or something, and I may have a spare card. Generally, once you get to round 4, your choices of global projects matter a lot less unless there's something that's going to give you something like power at scale, because they're just taking effect a lot less. Alrighty, let's have a look. Community wealth. This is a great way to get cards, but we don't have a lot of infrastructure on the board. So that's a feed card. Excellent. Environmental movement. Also a great way to get cards up, possibly, but we didn't get another environmental card. That's a shame. Citizen nature services. It basically does with what we started with, so that's probably a feed card. Cloud brightening is good, but could be a feed card. Clean energy R&D. We don't really need another way to get cards at this point. There's not a lot we want to feed at the moment in terms of global projects, and we don't want to shut down either of the crisis cards. So first thing, obviously, we want to do, I think, is going to be generate wind. So we have 6 ahead of the power. Now we can effectively treat this as an empty column. So I'm just going to run this to draw 2. Scale up recovery support is a good card. Let's just get rid of communities in crisis. That is a good card. Reduce the population down. And again, we might probably not need this card anymore because we're in a good spot. And now also, we have 1, 2, 3 purple there. All right, I'm going to put Citizens Assembly on top of fossil fuel subsidies and run it 3 times. That would be a good card as a way that you could trade purple into something else. Now we have tons of social. So again, a dead column. We're never going to need to come back here. That means we can get rid of 2 communities in crisis. So plenty of space to put things. But what we might do then, just on the chance that we can get another green, is we're going to put clean energy R&D on top of women and girls education for now. Sorry, women and girls. We're going to run Citizens Nature Service through it and hopefully get something with a plant on it. We didn't. We've got green building codes. A bit of extra capture could be good. And we've got microgrids, which would possibly solve our problem of, yeah, so that requires coins. That requires coins. And we're just not getting a lot of coin investment. We have none in play at all. So I'm going to take direct air capture. And again, a nice thing about this game is you can build up. So we have a huge amount of energy needs. We can actually let our population increase now and get some capture. So we're producing 14. We're producing 14, absorbing 10. We want to get rid of that last 4. How are we going to do that? So we didn't get the extra tree, unfortunately. So that cannot get above 4. So I'm going to run that and get the extra 3. Now we just have to get rid of 3. This, when we run it, if we have 2 cards left over, will absorb 3. So now we just have to get rid of 1. If I put this... okay, hang on. I'm going to put... we do have 2 of these symbols. As I said, empty trail over here. Can do that. It's always worth getting more cards because there are no bad cards in this game. There just aren't. All right. That's okay. That's a feed card. We can put this one on top there as well and run that. And we got a soil education card. Now we have it. Oh, well, I still can run this. I can put that there. We get 2 cards from soil. I know a place where I can put that. run, and we can run that 5 times now. And look at this. It's beautiful, beautiful combination. Run it again. We pulled our population down with educating women and girls. So now we can go, look, spread out, catch planes. Cars are out. Done. We are producing 11 and sequestering 11. So all we need is one more capture. So now we have 8 social, 6 environmental. I think that's supposed to be 5. I think there's a bit of a bug there. We have a multi-country insurance pool to stop it if we get infrastructure. And our population is going down anyway by just putting things like this in because of global efficiency standards. So now I could get a bit more resilience, but I'm instead going to put this here, and I can run it twice to get that underneath, and I won't need the methane removal. In fact, so then I can run it 3 times, in fact. As long as I've got cards, I can keep running it. So we're going to build some direct air capture. Yeah. Now we are producing 11, capturing 12. We can just stop there, but we're going to do it. But that's all you have to do is win. And that's another great thing about this game is that once we get to drawdown, we can do so much, right? This is look at we managed to if you look at the environmental situation here, we invested heavily in wind power. That's a very, very feasible thing we can do. We didn't even get to and we haven't had any magical technology. We've just shifted. You know, there are countries out there that are 99% using renewable energy and are doing fine. So that's something that we can do. And the only thing that we've done to our emissions is reduce is improve aviation fuel. We found an aviation fuel that isn't as carbon polluting. Again, a very small change. We've invested heavily in some environmental resilience, mostly through just planting a few trees and through this card here, citizen assemblies. We've encouraged people to meet locally, right? And all these small changes have led us to drawdown. And just like I was saying before, once we conquer a problem, we can then invest in other things. Drawdown pulls the carbon out of the atmosphere and lets things get better. And then we can direct our resources elsewhere. You know, we can actually put resources into other things. We can get back into educating the girls again or something. All right. So we to get right up to this last little bit, we did increase our population a huge amount again, but only level with our wind production, while we were also improving agriculture. So we haven't left the world in a deadly state. We could have also put those cards over there if we wanted to and still be producing enough wind power every single round to fuel our population. We haven't crippled industry. We haven't crippled we haven't forced everyone to eat plants. Some people complain this game is too easy. But I think if it was too hard, it wouldn't work. Because part of its message is that this problem we're facing is very hard, but only because of people like the fossil fuel disinformation and lobbyists and the people who want it to be hard. There is so much we can do, and that's what the message of this game is. You know, there is so much we can do, and there's so many possibilities to change this. And there goes our carbon being absorbed by the ocean, the forests, air reduction. We pull them back off the thing. We go back down in temperature. We resolve the desertification. We had a little bit of permafrost thawing. Okay. Now we just have to solve this healthcare crisis. Hey, look at that. We have citizen assemblies. We have supply chain resilience built in. We have recovery support built in. So a healthcare crisis isn't going to cripple us. Forest fires isn't going to cripple us because we built buffer zones and we built used regenerative agriculture. So we didn't strip the land bare. Air pollution isn't going to cripple us because we don't have any cars anymore. And we built a multicultural insurance process. And there it is. Our temperature didn't get above, it got up to 1.3 and then we pulled it back down. At 1.5, we pulled it back down to 3 degrees. Yeah, so there it is. Sorry, yeah, we went from, it was up to 1.5, we pulled it back down to 1.4. And the main thing we had troubling us was a bit of acidification of the oceans, but we got there, and I think it's a very well designed game because the choices are tough. I think people complaining that, well, the thing about people complaining that it's too easy is that there are as many reviews complaining it's too easy as there are complaining it's too hard. And we have to realize that there's a wide variety of play skills in the world. Like, it really is titanic, the difference between how easy and how difficult the average person finds a standard game. Like, you have no idea how vast that gap is. And a game doesn't have to be incredibly difficult. Like, the choices there are about finding, the right cards, but you still have to think. You have to go, okay, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do this, then that one. And you can't just sit back and coast. You have to go, well, that goes there, that goes there, that goes there, that goes there. If it may become mechanical in the sense that the choices, which are always good choices, but you still have to go, okay, which are the things we have to do? Where do we have to focus? Which ones do we, that sort of thing. And just because you're not going, oh, this is a really hard puzzle to solve, doesn't make it a easy game. Anyway, that's me playing a game of Daybreak. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to stream directly from BGA in the future, and I hope they gave you some strategy tips, and I will see you all in the future, but I don't think anybody watched this. So I'll end the stream now, and thank you all for not watching.